Welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60. Today is going to be a sparkling graphite kind of day because we're going to be working on the E90. Well, not working, we're testing it. And Dylan's also coming over because his lovely sparkling graphite N54 has also developed a misfire. Now, the last video you saw on this, I was testing out the fuel system and we were encountering misfires. Saturday morning before roll racing, I was trying to get it all done. Now, I did get quite a few suggestions in the comments on this last video on the intake install. I just sort of messed up. I was hyper-focused on the O2 readings, and I'm like, oh, we've got a faulty O2 sensor. This also compounded because I may have had a little bit of an issue with the O2 wiring, and I was just thinking, it's going to be O2, it's going to be O2, not thinking properly about the logs. Obviously, if the cylinder shuts down because of a misfire, the O2 readings go haywire, and that's what was happening. All that was wrong with this car was cylinder number 1 spark plug. I eventually changed it. It was always cylinder 1 that was showing the misfire codes. I've put another second-hand spark plug in there, a different one to what's in the other cylinders, but we're just testing at the moment. And the misfire's gone. So let's take it for a drive, and I want to do a Dragy run whilst it's got E70 fuel in. In fact, let me give you an update on the flex fuel as well. So, the flex fuel, hopefully you're following along, and the location, or where I located, please stop beeping, where I located the flex sensor was in the secondary fuel line. Now, I was kind of concerned that it was going to take a long time for the flex sensor to update the fuel. When I put E85 in the tank yesterday, and I filled it up with E85, but we did have a little bit of E10 still in the tank, it took about 5 seconds for the flex sensor to get the current reading. So obviously fuel is backflowing through the secondary line. Probably not a great thing. However, watching logs, looking at everything yesterday, you've just seen how this car cold started. It doesn't seem to be an issue. Fuel pressures are absolutely fine for what we're doing with the vehicle, and as soon as we start to accelerate, fuel pressure goes off the scale. I saw 92 PSI on the low pressure sensor yesterday doing logs. But one thing I didn't do, I haven't Dragy tested it. Now, this car is going to be going on the hoist today, and it won't be coming off until it has the Flowmax turbos on it. So I wanted to just do a quick run, the last hurrah for these Vargas turbos, to see what 60 to 120 we can do with E70 fuel in the tank. Now, the port injection is not doing anything. The car still won't make more than 16 or 17 PSI, so the port injection is not really functioning at the moment, but we are running some better fuel. We're running MHD version 9 stage 2 plus flex map. So let's go and see what the 60 to 120 is and see how it improved from the first video we did on this series. Let me go and get some heat in the car, and you'll see me in a second. So just out getting some heat into it, just wanted to show you guys what it sounds like, because it does sound different when you're running it on a bit of ethanol. It's still really laggy to boost. There's the boost. Sounds good. Feels a hell of a lot faster. Yeah, keen to see what it does on the Dragy. All right, let me get to a safe spot where we can wind it out, and we'll do some test runs. All right, let's try a 60 to 120 first off. Oof. 3.1 seconds, that's pretty nippy. Does feel quick. It does feel really quick. That was a 0 to 100 in 4.5 and a 60 to 120 in 3.1. Woo! She is nippy. Well, it's nice doing those little benchmarks. Let's just talk about what we've done with the Dragy. I think I've caught them all on camera, but just to clarify. So when we started this video series, this car was running on pump fuel, and it was doing a 0 to 100 on the Dragy in 5.41 seconds. When we put XHP on it, it pulled a huge amount out of that time, and we got it down to 4.64 seconds, 0 to 100 with XHP. Now, hopefully you can see that graph up on the screen, but the acceleration curve was still pretty patchy. Like, it wasn't a constant acceleration, but the shifts were a lot better. And today we have done a 4.53. Now, something I don't know if the video's picked up, but the 1 to 2 shift is too aggressive for these tires on the surface, and it is just breaking loose. So I can guarantee you, if I put the AR1s on the back, we'd probably pull another 2/10 out of that time. So we're talking like a 4.3, 4.4 seconds, 0 to 100 with rollout, or a 4.1, 4.2 without rollout, or pretty much a 3 second 0 to 60 right now with the way this car is. Now that is with the port injection, the stage 3 as people like to call it, fuel pressure, the weird low pressure fuel system that I've done. It's got heaps of fuel pressure. When I was logging this yesterday in 3rd gear, I still don't think the port injection's doing much. Like the highest boost we see is about 17 PSI, but the high pressure fuel pump and the low pressure fuel pump are both really healthy. So we've got heaps of fuel pressure, and that's what the time has come down to. The impressive thing with what we've done today is the 60 to 120 times. So when we first videoed this car, it was 3.93 seconds. With the XHP tune, it come down to 3.58, and the fastest one I've just done this morning is 3.03 seconds. So we've taken the best part of a second of how long this car takes to go from 60 kilometers an hour to 120 kilometers an hour, and I can confirm that that time is faster than a Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggero will do it in. So it's right now it's a quick car. We've still got crappy boost, which I'm fairly confident is going to be the turbos. The only thing I haven't sort of properly checked are the outlets, just because I had to physically take them off and it was a big job to do that. So assuming that this car doesn't have a hole in the outlet somewhere, these turbos are knackered, but I think it's going to be pretty rapid. Basically, it's just super laggy, no boost under 4,000 RPM, and then boost tapers off at about 6,000. It's like driving a car from the 80s with a big turbo. Fun to drive, but very, very small window of power and not much power. Won't make more than 17 or 18 PSI. Anyway, enough rambling. We need to get on to the second part of this video, which is diagnosing Dylan's car. He's going to be here in a few minutes, so let's see if we can work out what's wrong with his. Now that I fixed the misfire in this, I fixed the misfire in my car as well. I can't remember if we spoke about it, but it was just a spark plug. Pain in the diddly. That's what broke me for roll racing. There was a crack in the spark plug. Probably my fault for the earth wire being loose. Anyway, my car is fixed, and now we've fixed misfires on this and my car. Hopefully it'll be a quick fix on Dylan's car, although his doesn't throw any codes. Anyway, we'll see you guys shortly, and we'll go from there. Well, Dylan has arrived in his sparkling graphite E92. Hello, Dylan.
Hey, how you going?
Your exhaust is loud. I always forget how loud it is. Now, I just want to explain to the audience, your car developed, it was actually throwing a misfire code about 3-4 months ago, and it was, the way that Dylan described it to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, is under load in a high gear in drive. So if you load the car up at low RPMs, it would throw an engine light. It sounded to me like ignition coils. We've done plugs in this car, so you would come and picked up a set of Elder coils.
Yep,
he threw the Elders in and it seemed better, but every now and again it'll still stutter under load. So we know we've got good plugs, we've got good coils, unless the plugs have gone bad, because I've been in there for about a year.
No engine faults though. Once we changed the coils, no fault lights.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing. So basically he doesn't get an engine fault code anymore, but it will still stutter when he's trying to accelerate. So I said, come over, we'll try and log it and work out what's going on. Let's take you guys along for the drive. Let's go. All right, so Dill's just going to put it in basically a high gear and load it up and see if we can feel this judder. There it is, I felt it. Okay. It's definitely still doing it, but no engine light. Right, let's see if we can capture that in a log, which I was supposed to be doing, but I forgot to hit start log. All right, let's try again, let's try again. There it is, there it is. Okay, it's a weird vibration. Okay, but I did get it at the end of this log. Let's have a look at the log and we'll see if it gives us some indication of what's going on. All right, hopefully the GoPro's picking it up. If not, I'll get a screenshot, but you can see there, bank 1 AFR goes nuts, but it's not shutting the cylinders down. So we're not getting an actual proper misfire, but O2 sensor looks like it's dying. All right. Luckily, because I just put an O2 sensor in the Vargas car, I have a spare one that I don't need, that I know is good, so let's go and throw an O2 in it, Dill, and we'll see if we get rid of this misfire. Or the judder, at least, anyway. All right, so a bit of an update on the car. Now, the AFRs are going crazy on bank 2 in that log that we just did, but it's playing on my mind. I've had 2 cars with misfires, and when you get the misfire, the AFRs do go nuts because the cylinder's not combusting properly. Before I throw an O2 sensor in this, which is what I did to the Vargas car and wasted time the other day, or the Flomax car, I just wanted to check the plugs. Now, we put these plugs in 2019, and they were gapped at 0.022 back then. They've done about 20,000 kilometers on stage 1, and all this started when you loaded stage 2, didn't it?
Certainly did.
So we've I think I mentioned at the start of this section of the video, it actually got better when we did the coils, but what I'm thinking, I'm just going to gap the plugs down a bit. Could probably do with another set of plugs, but I'll gap the plugs down and we'll see if that gets rid of the problem before we put an O2 sensor in and waste an O2 sensor. So I'm going to get them regapped, we'll refit them and see if it's just a spark issue. Okay, as I was saying before, we're just going to take it for a bit of a test drive and see if it is the plugs, see if it's any better. Really, it could do with a new set of plugs, but let's just see if regapping them makes it any different. Right, let's go. And just again, low RPMs, you can hear the boot rattling. It's pulling better. I'd say it's actually pulling better in that 2,000 to 3,000 RPM range as well. Alright, I'm not going to film anymore, but I think it's fixed. But you probably need to get some spark plugs.
Feels good.
The spark plugs could be coming to the end of the life. Something I didn't actually mention before, we actually gapped them right down to 0.018 because we did put a upgraded low pressure fuel pump in this about 2 weeks ago, and Dylan is going to be running some ethanol shortly. So I thought we'll just gap them down and get them ready for the ethanol. Anyway, let's head back.
Perfect.
Do you not trust my diagnosis? Oh, that is low RPMs. It's stronger. It would like hesitate.
Yeah.
Well, there we have it. The 3 Misfire BMWs. You happy yours is sort of fixed?
Pretty happy.
Got to spend some money on plugs now. We put those plugs in 2019, and you were doing a lot of highway driving because you're a rep at one point. So maybe you have done 30 or 40,000 Ks.
Probably 30, maybe, almost.
Maybe they just come to the end of their life and they do need to be refreshed, but gapping them down has fixed it for now. Interestingly enough, all 3 of these Misfire issues were caused by spark. That one was cylinder 1 spark plug. We regapped all of Dylan's spark plugs, and mine was a cracked porcelain. Well, it was either cracked or it was caused by the earthing issue that we had at roll racing. But there we go. And I thought it was O2s on all those cars. I'm learning. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Get your ignition in check with your N54. And everyone in the comments, tell Dylan to get his car on the 85 because it's ready to go now and he's missing out. And he hasn't actually seen the video it's this video where we show how fast that thing is on an ethanol blend because it's quick. Guys, thank you very much. Thank you. Catch you on the next one.
Cheers.